gotta have control. Well, welcome back. Welcome back to the Extraordinary Drummer Show. Will you help me welcome my guest today, Little John Roberts. Hey, John.
Hey, what up, y'all? What's happening?
Welcome to the Extraordinary Drummer Show.
Man, pleasure, bro. We tried this before, and then we had a not a snowstorm. We had a hurricane here the last time we tried to do this interview, and all my lights went out and everything. Man, it was crazy. I tried to go out in my deck and do the interview with you, and I'm near an airport, so nothing but planes flying over while we trying to talk. Man, it was a disaster, but we're gonna make it work this time. We got power. I'm inside, so we good now.
I looked that up and I saw that was Hurricane Zeta, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Hurricane Zeta. It was pretty bad back there too.
It was really bad, man. I was worried about my roof because I got a lot of trees behind my house and stuff was just falling on top of the roof that night, man. I started praying. Like, for real, I was really praying because stuff was like, I could feel the stuff hitting the top of the roof, just boom, boom. Like anything could have happened. A big tree could have broke and fell on my house, but thank God it didn't happen.
Tell me, how did you get introduced to drums? How old were you when you get your first drum kit?
Yeah, I think my first kit I got was when I was 10. But my family are all musicians, so I grew up around, music all the time. My dad played bass, my mom played piano, all my uncles played drums. So, and my dad was the pastor at my church, so, it was, how it is. You just jump right into it and go for it. So as soon as I had the chance to try drums out in church, my uncles let me sit on and play some, and, that's when it started from there. So
are you a PK?
Yes, I am.
Woo! What was that like?
It was cool, man. I mean, my family is very well respected and loved in Philadelphia. And we had a lot of support. My family is more on the liberal side, so they weren't like super tight about, not playing secular music and all that kind of stuff. Like, they were really open for me to, explore other music and stuff while I was playing gospel music. So I appreciate my family for letting me have those open doors to be able to play other music and not feel like I could only play gospel music,
I gotta say this though. I saw a picture of you a couple of days ago, had started pulling some things, and you were young. You had this hat on in the picture, this hat back in the day, and you were young. And then when I saw you the last time we tried to do this interview, I looked and I saw the gray in here. I was like, I just looked like I was like 4 top flies.
I'm fly, man. Yeah, man. Sooner or later, you start getting them grays, man. This is something to be proud of, man. It's wisdom and it's experience and all kind of stuff, man. So yeah, I'm happy to just even be alive, man. Happy to be 48, man. 2 more years, I'll be 50. That's a big milestone.
48. Oh man.
Right. I used to always be the young guy in the band. I was always the youngest one in Janet's band and George Duke's band, and man, just everybody. Like, I was the young gun, and now I'm the old head.
I'm 48. Where did that time go?
Yeah, man.
It just seemed like it sped up somewhere along the line.
Right. Yeah.
Take me all the way back to high school. What was the scene with the drums in high school?
Man, growing up in Philly, like, music is everywhere. Especially when I was growing up. And matter of fact, I lived next door to Pieces of a Dream.
Oh,
so
Cedric, yeah, man, it was my dudes.
Yeah, Curtis Harmon and all those guys, James Lloyd, they were practicing next door to me. Like, we were literally, our houses were together, so I could hear them in the basement practicing, and I go downstairs and get on my drums and try to make them hear me while they were playing, and I'm gonna get that gig, so it was heavy, man. Like, the cats that we were around we learned, it was a lesson every day, man. My high school teacher, his name was Dr. George Allen, and he's the one that knew all of these people. And he would invite them to the school. I went to Overbrook High School in West Philly. Will Smith, Wilt Chamberlain went to Overbrook. So I'm proud of Overbrook High School. But yeah, the music department, like, I lived in Mount Airy, man. Mount Airy is like 2 hours commute to West Philly. When you're taking a train and bus and all that kind of, I took about 2 trains, 3 buses, 1 subway. Like it took me 2 hours to get home and back. But I went there because of the music program, because of Dr. George Allen. So it was worth it, man, to go all the way out there and learn what I learned with him and his staff and all the other great musicians in Philly that was going to Overbrook as well.
Pieces of a Dream had a song called Mount Ivory.
Mount Airy. Yep.
Mount Airy, yeah.
Yep,
yeah, they had a song called that.
Yep. I love that song.
Yeah. You went to Berkeley College?
Yep, 91. I graduated and went straight to Berkeley right after I graduated. So I stayed there for 2 years for school, and then I stayed in Boston for another year. So I was there a total of 3 years in Boston, 91 to 93 or 94-ish kind of. And then that's when I moved to the South. How did
college and all of that reading and studying, how did it not jack up your playing and make you sound all stereo or like you in a box or something?
Interesting. I mean, the way that I was rolling, man, I really wanted to learn everything that I could, all styles of music. I put myself in places where I could learn those things, like the Brazilian guys that were actually from Brazil. I hung out with them to learn the Bahia beats and all that kind of stuff. And I would hang out with, the rock cats, like Taylor Hawkins and cats like that from Foo Fighters and that. Like they were all going to Berkeley at the same time that we were there. So we go hang out with them, watch him play double bass, and they will come over and hang out with us and want to learn how to play funk and straight ahead. And it was such a melting pot of different styles and different people from all over. So I learned a lot, man, even outside of the classroom. I learned probably more outside of the classroom than what I did in class.
Is that around the time that you got the Jazzy Jeff and the Will Smith gig?
Yeah, I was coming back and forth to Philadelphia while I was at school, and Jazzy Jeff had just started his production, Touch of Jazz, and we had the jackets and everything. So I was going back to Berkeley with my jacket on, my name on it, Touch of Jazz, Lil Jon, just kind of flossing a little bit, like, yeah, I work with Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. So that was like one of my little, my first taste of like the pop and hip hop world was with Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince.
Francesco, Kurt Rosenwinkel, Christian McBride. I'm Lil Jon Roberts with a Philly reunion. Thank you for having us, y'all.
Let me ask you this one. I'm going to jump back and forth, and I know the time is of the essence. The name Little Jon Roberts.
Yeah.
How do you keep Little Jon and you're getting down you're getting down the road now?
Man, I'm a junior, so my name is Lil Jon because of my dad. But at one point, like in my career, if you want to say, I was just kind of like wanting to have a brand to my name or whatever like that. So I just started telling people my name is Lil Jon. My name is Lil Jon. My family used to call me that, or they call me John or something like, Lil Jon. Nobody calls me John if you don't know me. I'll be like, don't call me that. If you're not my family, don't call me John. Because it feels like, I'm like a little kid. But Little Jon ain't no better either. But, it's value in that name now, man. So I go different places, and some people might not know me as just Jon Roberts. But if you say Lil Jon, the drummer, they're like, oh, yeah, Lil Jon, So at 48 years old, I'm sticking to the name, man.
Tell me about that band, Chronicle.
Yeah, the Chronicle, man. Some of the baddest cats in Atlanta that I pulled together to be in a group. I don't know if you've ever heard our record. It's called Making Moves in Atlanta. But that's still on iTunes now. So you can check out the vibe on that record, because that's the only record we did pretty much. We did a bootleg before, but that's the one that most people are familiar with, especially in Atlanta.
It's Janet, Miss Jackson if you're nasty.
Tell me, how did you get the Janet Jackson gig?
Okay, so that happened because basically part reputation and part knowing the right people. You know, I knew all the band members, so I knew Rex Salas. Well, I didn't know Rex Salas. I knew of Rex Salas. He was the music director at the time, but I knew Sam Sims personally. I knew Daryl Smith personally, because we were all playing with George Howard and George Duke and people like that. We were doing a lot of jazz gigs together. So they went ahead, mainly like Sam and some other people. You know, it was a village of people that was talking about me. And when it was time for them to get another drummer, they were like, man, you should get this young cat, Lil Jon. He's in Atlanta. He's from Philly, blah, blah, blah. You know, they looked at some of my stuff, watched some of my videos and all, and saw how I played. And they were like, yeah, I think this cat could work, you know. And then of course, they took it to Janet, and I guess she had approved of it too when she saw whatever they showed of me. And no audition or anything. I just came in flat right out behind Jonathan Moffett, you know, in between rehearsals for the next leg of that Janet tour in '94. And I had learned all the stuff, man, before rehearsal, and came in and smacked it, man. That was one thing I was very proud of. Like, look, I learned the whole show. I'm ready. Let's go.
Now, how long did you do that gig?
Man, through the course of the last 22 years, I'd say.
Talk about your drum setup. What endorsements are you doing? What drums are you playing? What are you doing on endorsements?
So the last 15 years, I've been with Tama. I've been with Remo heads all my life. Shouts out to Chris Hart and all the guys at Remo and girls. Sticks, Vader Sticks. I've been with Vader for a very long time as well. And then I went over to Mino Cymbals in the last 7-8 years, I believe.
What are you doing on the electronic side?
Oh, so I use all the Yamaha electronics.
We have a thing on the show that we do, we call Word of Advice, where I ask the drummers or the guests if they would leave a word of advice for the up-and-coming drummers, the guys that's trying to get traction in this business, and even the guys at the next level that's trying to move beyond. Would you leave them a word of advice, please?
My biggest word of advice for anybody, young, old, new, you know, if you're just starting out, if you've already been in the business, man, is relationships mean everything. First of all, relationships, the way that you treat people, professionalism, your dedication to the music, you know, just doing all the right things that's going to represent you in the right way. Your reputation means everything, you know, and that people in this business talk. It could be good or it can be bad, and that's just how you're represented out there. You know, you got to be careful, you know, how you act in front of people. You know, just be mindful that people are watching you, especially when you get to a level like myself and Cheron, your level, and you know, just cats that have been in the game for a while. Being humble means a lot. You know, you don't have to be fake humble. Like some cats, namaste. All of that. You don't have to be fake humble, but, you know who you are, be confident. You got to be confident in this game, man. If you don't have any confidence, somebody else with confidence is going to plow over you. Musicians need to understand that it's not coming from them. It's coming from God. Our talents are coming from a source, and it's not us. We are given those talents through the higher power, man. You know, and we can't take credit for it like that. You know, I'd be a fool to say, I did this. I came up with that. I was influenced. You know, I'm a vessel of God, you know, and the gift that he gave to me. But I didn't do this on my own. You know what I'm saying? So people have to understand that when you feel like tripping and getting all into yourself like that, think about it for a second. This ain't me. This ain't about me. I didn't do this. This came from a higher source.
I think that's the reason why you've had the phenomenal career that you've had, because of being humble, your humility, just being humble. I want to ask you this one. What does those stars on your hand mean?
So it don't mean that I'm a star. Like some people with shallow minds will think that, oh, he got stars in his hand because he thinks he's a star. No, I got these stars. First of all, I'm into holistic healing, and I'm into chakras, energy fields, all kind of stuff. Like if you get to know me, you know that I've been talking about stuff like that all my life, pretty much. Even the numbers system. You might have seen me post, if you follow me, I've posted things about 1111 and the numbers one, all the things that deal with the number one, which are angel numbers. It's the heavens kind of speaking to you in different ways. Some people might like it, some people might not. But I love my stars, man. So I have to explain it to some people sometimes. They're like, why you got stars on your hand? And then I tell them that story, and then they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense,
Moving forward, what's in the future for you? What do you got coming up? Anything that we should keep an eye on?
Man, I've been teaching a hell of a lot lately. I mean, even with this pandemic, that really made me, teach more, because people were home and they were like, can you teach me while I'm home? Sure. But like, I want to teach on another level now. Like I did a summer camp this summer for kids. Out of the blue, I woke up and was like, I had a dream, like, man, I should do a virtual music camp for the kids since they're home, and parents trying to find something for them to do. And they were pushing them on me. Please take my son, take my daughter, teach them. You can have them for however long, how much it costs, fine. It was crazy. So I did a month of a virtual music camp for kids, man. It was great, man. I had some of my buddies teach. Trey Gilbert was bass player, bass teacher. Derek Scott was the guitar teacher. Phil Davis was the keyboard teacher. My friend Kate Burgess, she was the vocal coach, and I taught the drummers. And what we did is through that course of the month, we taught them songs to play at home and record them and made it into one finale performance. As you can see it on my Instagram if you scroll down. I posted it a while ago. It's like 3 songs. And I had all of them play their parts and record it. And then we put it together, mixed it and everything, and made it into one performance for all of them, for them to show their family and their friends and all. So things like that, man, that's where like my passion lies now. Like I still like to play, and I just did a recording the other day, a virtual recording with my buddy Mike Burton, sax player. He has a new record out. He did a single with PJ Morton. So we're going to air that on December 11th. I don't know when you're going to air this, but if it's before that, people can watch it. It'll probably be on one of his streaming sites. So Mike Burton, check out December 11th. We did like a little Christmas special for folks. But yeah, man, the teaching is where it's at for me now, man. I remember going to LA for the first time and meeting Ndugu Chancellor. And George Duke hooked us up. He said, man, you got to go hang out with Ndugu, because, it was around the time that I just started playing with George. And I really wanted to get myself engulfed with the style that him, Byron Miller, and Ndugu were playing together. Like that trio still is a thing, even though those two are gone now, but the legacy of that music is still alive. And so I went over to Ndugu's house, man. And I don't know if you've been to Ndugu's house before or hung out with him, but if you have, he has mallets, vibraphones out. He has marimbas out. He has timpanis, and even like Harvey Mason too. And going to his house just opened up a whole nother world to me. Like the teaching aspect, like everybody said, man, you got to go to Ndugu's house if you go to LA. And each cat that has been to Ndugu's house has been totally changed because of his approach to music and drumming. It's not just about the drums. It's the whole gamut of percussion and everything, And from that day on, I was like, man, I want to inspire some other cats to do what I do and show them how I do it too. You know, like I'm not the greatest drummer in the world. I know that. I don't even want to be. I do what I do, and I appreciate people that like what I do. But that's just me, man, and that's how I represent myself. But the other part of me is helping other people, you know, and I want to help a lot of these cats, like I've done with some of, you know, the Spankies and, you know, all these other cats that have come up under me. I still want to continue to do that, but I want to do it in a more official way, like a university or something, or create my own university. Who knows? That's one of them. That's one of my main goals. My other main goal is a jazz club. I want to open a jazz club, and I keep saying it over and over until it happens, but that's been on my spirit for a long time. It's been like 10, 15 years that I've wanted to open a jazz club because I see everybody else do it. I've seen people fail. I've seen people succeed. You know, I played in all of them, so I know how things run, and, you know, it's not an easy business. I know that, but if I get the right team with me and everything, I'm sure I could pull it off, man.
Everything I'm hearing from you, it just comes back to a full circle where it speaks of your heart, speaks of you being humble. It just, now I mean, I've always known, but I can put it together even from knowing you and seeing you when you were younger. Now that you're a tad older, it's still the same. It's just gotten gooder and gooder.
Hey, man, you know, you get older and wiser, man. And you don't take advantage of the time that you're here, man. Like I said in the beginning, I'm just grateful to be alive, man. So like my whole outlook on life now has totally changed. I mean, it was cool back then, but now I really value everything, you know, even the smallest things. The little things mean so much more to me than anything. And of course the big stuff, but I figured it out now, you know. I figured out what life really means, man, what it's about, and, you know, and just living it out to the fullest as much as I can. Whenever I gotta go, that's when I go. And I hope that when I leave, my legacy will follow, and it'll be, you know, people will say nice things about me, and, you know, it'll be like that, you know what I'm saying?
You know, it's funny you say that. That was my last question right here. It says legacy. That was my last one, just to show you how the Holy Spirit is definitely involved in this. Yeah. What do you want your legacy to be, John? How would you like it to be said and to be played out?
Man, I just want people to know that I was a good guy, that I did what I could do for people, you know, that I wasn't selfish with my gift. You know, I try to look out for people a lot of times, even more than myself. And sometimes it didn't come back. Sometimes it did, you know, and that's just life. You're not going to always get back what you gave out. And you got to be cool with that. You can't look for it. If it comes back, cool. If it doesn't, keep it moving anyway. Because you got to be accountable for the things that you're doing, not them.
I tell you, man, we really need another hour, boy.
Man, we can do it again.
Let me say thank you so very much for being on the Extraordinary Drummer Show.
Thanks for having me, Cheron.
It really is just something, man. I'm sounding like the old guy, but you really have laid it down, man, as a drummer, as a person in life, and as a influencer. And I did say educator earlier. I mean, you really have done it right, man. And it's so easy for, now I'm on a sauce box here, but it's so easy for guys to get egos. It's so easy for guys to make wrong turns. But you started out blazing and you're still blazing, man.
Thank God for that, man. I do whatever I can to help, man. That's my goal.
Will you help me wave goodbye to all the audience, to all the guys?
All right, y'all. Much love to everybody. Be safe out there.
Thank you, Lil John.